Have you ever seen such a ridiculous basketball team? The new coach, Gulchan, is stunned on his first day. One player even calls him an ugly midget, and everyone else bursts out laughing. Gulchan holds back his anger and decides to start with a simple drill. He passes the ball to a player, but it slams straight into the guy's face. Gulchan hurries to apologize. "I did that on purpose." When he tries to pass to someone else, the whole group immediately drops into a stance like they're bracing for a fight. That's when Gulchan realizes these guys don't know the first thing about basketball. He'll have to start with the absolute basics. He tells everyone to pair up for practice, but then Lotus pipes up, "I have a girlfriend. Why would I pair up with someone else?" Satbir chimes in right after, "I had braised pork over rice for breakfast." Another player joins in, "It's half a mile from here to my house." Gulchan is totally confused. "I'm talking about practice. I didn't ask what you ate this morning," but the guys just keep chatting. Gulchan hurries to cut them off before things get more out of hand and tells Lotus to grab a ball. But when he turns around, he sees Lotus tilting his head 45 degrees up at the hoop, mouth hanging open, completely frozen stiff. He talks to him, but there's no response. With no other choice, Gulchan turns to get to know the other players first. Sunil shows up to play basketball wearing leather shoes. Gulchan reminds him, "Next time, you have to wear sneakers." But Sunil just says, "I wear a helmet to protect my head from getting hurt." Gulchan can't wrap his head around that logic. "I was talking about shoes. How did he get on the topic of helmets?" Guru, who's standing nearby, sees what's happening and comes over to hug Gulchan. Instantly, Gulchan feels like he's hugging a garbage can. How can someone smell this bad? Gulchan forces down his anger. He's the coach, and he can't lose his temper. He sets a basketball down in front of everyone and tells them to pick it up, but all of them immediately cover their crotches. Gulchan loses it. After taking a moment to calm himself, he has the players line up to shoot one by one. He blows his whistle, and every single one of them throws the ball at the same time. Gulchan starts to doubt himself until he notices one player didn't throw. Relieved, Gulchan blows his whistle and signals for him to shoot, but the player suddenly spins around, turns his back to the hoop, and hurls the ball backward. Everyone erupts in laughter, and this time Gulchan has absolutely nothing to say. Guru kicks the basketball hard, smashing a fluorescent light. Gulshan's mouth drops open in shock. "This is basketball, not soccer. I told you to play like Kobe, not Messi," but the guys just cheer happily. Gulchan storms off to find the manager. "Is there even one normal person here? I've never seen a more absurd team in my life. Their combined IQ is lower than an elementary school kid's." But the manager just says, "This is your job. Do you need me to remind you why you're here?" Turns out, Gulchan had gotten into trouble with two friends in Bollywood years ago. Even though he was named the smartest student by his dean, he took a job as a basketball coach right after graduation. One day, the team he was helping coach lost badly. Gulchan noticed the head coach's strategy was flawed and spoke up with his own ideas, but the coach told him to shut up and stop annoying him. Unsurprisingly, they lost in the end. Gulchan blamed the entire loss on the head coach. "If you'd listened to me earlier, would we have lost?" The head coach mocked him right back. "You little shrimp, what right do you have to criticize my skills?" Being called short was Gulshan's #1 pet peeve. He snaps and throws a punch, knocking the head coach flat on the ground. Later, Gulchan went to a bar to drown his sorrows, and the news of him punching the head coach came on TV. That only made him more depressed. He got drunk, got behind the wheel, and accidentally knocked the rearview mirror off a police car. To make things worse, the alcohol hit him hard, and he rear-ended the police car. He was caught red-handed, drunk driving, and a crash. Since it was his first offense, the judge sentenced him to community service, coaching a basketball team made up of people with intellectual disabilities for 3 months. Gulchan refused outright. "I have to teach a bunch of lunatics for 3 months?" The judge took offense at his disrespect and fined him an extra 5,000 rupees. Then the community manager found out Gulchan was a basketball coach and registered the team for the National Special Needs Basketball Tournament. Gulchan laughed when he heard, "A bunch of lunatics playing in a national tournament? That's basically asking to be made fun of." But the smile drops from his face the very next second. Not a single one of these players acts normal. The whole team's laughing, while Gulshan's the only one left confused. He can't even understand what they're saying. He tries to ask another player to translate, but it turns out the guy was just saying the coach is an ugly midget. Being called short is Gulshan's biggest pet peeve, but right now, he has no choice but to hold back his anger. Next, they start practice. Suddenly, a huge guy, Hargovind, steps forward from the group. Next to him, Gulchan looks like a tiny chick. Can't help but step back a little. But then Hargovind grabs the basketball and sinks a shot straight into the hoop. Gulchan feels a tiny bit better, finally. There's someone normal on the team, but his relief doesn't last long. He overhears the players arguing. If you have 4 pencils and I have 7 apples, how many pancakes can we put on the ceiling? The answer: purple, because aliens don't wear hats. That's the last straw for Gulchan. He storms off to complain to the manager. You can't even find one normal person in this whole group. Teaching them basketball is harder than climbing a mountain. But the manager just replies, most of these guys have the mental age of an 8-year-old. When you were 8, you were probably still wetting the bed. Just give them time. The things you think are weird feel totally normal to them. For all you know, you're the odd one in their world. Everyone has their own way of being. You can't force them to fit your rules. Gulchan has no comeback. He has to keep teaching them. Coach Gulchan takes the team for a jog around the gym. What he doesn't notice, though, is that most of the players, following Lotus, have wandered off completely. When he turns around, only 2 players are left with him. He asks Sharmaji where the others went, but Sharmaji starts rambling nonstop. There's no one around to translate this time, and Gulshan's head starts killing him instantly. Later, Gulchan realizes one of the remaining players is the judge's son. He marches right to the judge to complain. This is total favoritism. You're forcing me to be your son's personal coach. The judge doesn't budge. If you don't want to be their basketball coach, then go clean every toilet in the city. Being a janitor is still serving the people, right? Gulchan backpedals right away. Come on, I was just joking. I actually like being their coach. The next morning, Gulchan gets a call from the manager. Their team got accepted into the tournament. They're going to play in the national games. Gulchan thinks he's hallucinating. How could a group of people with intellectual disabilities possibly play in a tournament? But his mom sees it differently. This team might just win all the way to the end, she says. Remember when you were young? Teams thought you were too short. Coaches wouldn't even look at you. I had to beg one coach, even slapped him, just to get him to take you. I fought for you back then. Now you can fight for them. His mom's words really sink in. Gulchan decides to take their training seriously and tries to communicate with the players in a way they'll understand. But he gives up after less than a minute. It's a total failure. Every player on this basketball team has the mental age of 8. Gulchan tracks down Hargovan, the only one who actually knows how to play basketball. He begs Hargovan to practice with the others instead of playing alone. Teamwork is always stronger than one person, he says. But Hargovan just ignores him, slings his backpack over his shoulder, and walks away. Before Gulchan can fix that problem, another one pops up. Sunil complains his shoes feel uncomfortable and doesn't know how to return them. Gulchan bends down to check and sees Sunil's wearing his shoes backwards. He tells Sunil to take them off, put them on the right way. Sunil takes both shoes off, stares at them for ages, and finally slips them back on. What a normal person could tell apart in a second feels impossible for him. Gulshan's heart aches a little watching him. Even the other players, who still shoot backwards sometimes, are trying their hardest. Maybe they just need more time. They have the minds of 8-year-olds. He can't expect them to act like 28-year-olds. When he gets home, Gulchan dives into researching basketball plays, determined to give this team a fighting chance. But the next day, he gets terrible news. Hargovan, the only one who could play, quit the team. Now, winning feels totally impossible, but the manager tells him not to give up. Just look at the players over there. Kareem, who usually shoots backwards, can ride a motorcycle perfectly. Never a single accident. The manager explains, these players might not look like much, but each of them has a gift. Take Satbir. He's a genius with cars. He can't do simple math, but he helps mechanical engineering students out. Then there's Sharmaji, who can't speak clearly. He works at a cafe. If a customer can understand what he's saying, they get 20% off. People even go to the cafe just to listen to him. Lotus works in a dye factory. He's amazing at coloring hair. That's why he dyes his own hair all those bright colors. And Gudu, he's an animal whiz. Show him any animal, and he can tell right away if it's hurt. Some of them didn't develop right in their mom's tummies. Others got sick when they were born. Most have Down syndrome, a genetic condition that affects intellectual and physical development. That's why they have different levels of intellectual disabilities. Some are even shorter. They already have a harder life than most people. All we can do is meet them where they are, try to step into their world, and be patient. You might be surprised what happens. Gulchan takes the manager's words to heart. He's more determined than ever to turn this group into a real professional team. Can people with the mental age of 8 really play basketball? Gulchan takes them jogging again. Lotus still zones out sometimes, but now his little zones outs are way shorter than before. He tells them to do push-ups. None of them do it right, but Gulchan doesn't get mad. Instead, he patiently explains the proper form. But while he's talking up front, the players are drawing pictures in the back. After practicing for a while, though, progress starts to show. They can bounce the ball in place now, even pass it in order. They're making shots too. Lotus can even spin the ball on his finger, a trick Gulchan can't do himself. They've even made up their own secret code. They reverse the order of words. When Gulchan tells them to practice shooting, they say, "Shoot practice" instead. Only they understand it. Soon, their first game rolls around. Gulchan tries to explain the game plan for tomorrow, but the team's attention is totally on their clothes. He tells them to wear blue tomorrow, but they refuse. "My mom will only recognize me if I wear red," one says. Gulchan tries to reason with them. "If you wear red, you'll look like the other team." But Lotus just says, "Then I'll just join their team instead." Before long, everyone's arguing. Gulchan hurries to break it up, insists they have to wear matching colors, but his words fall on deaf ears. The basketball tournament is about to start and the team shows up dressed like a rainbow. Gulchan already saw this coming. He tells Gudu to take off his blue shirt, then yanks off his own blue tee. Finally, they scrape together enough matching same clothes. The players' parents are all there to cheer them on. It's their first game ever, and sure enough, one of them sinks a shot. Gulchan jumps to his feet cheering. When the opposing coach sees this, he quickly yells instructions to his team, "Watch the paint area. Drive at 45 degrees. Gulchan purposely walks over to eavesdrop on their play call, then uses their secret code to tell his team, "Defend the middle, speed up the passes." Sharmaji gets the ball and shoots right away, and soon they tie up the score. Gulchan notices the other team's defense is too tight, so he hatches a plan. He tells Lotus to pass the ball to Satbir on purpose. He knows Satbir never lets go of the ball once he has it, and the other team plays so aggressively, they'll probably foul him. That way, they can take free throws to pull ahead. Sure enough, the ref blows the whistle for a foul. The score is 8-8 now. If Satbir makes this shot, they win. Gulchan talks to Satbir. "Pretend the hoop's a broken tire. If you get the ball in, you'll fix the tire." Satbir shouts, "I'm gonna fix the car." He heaves the ball with both hands. It bounces twice on the rim, then drops in perfectly. They win. A basketball team with the mental age of 8 just won a game. Gulchan only wanted to teach them some basic basketball skills, enough to play a game without regrets. He never expected them to actually win. Turns out, these guys have way more potential than he thought. It's their first game, and they already have a victory. After the game, Gulchan takes everyone to shower, but Gudu refuses to budge. It turns out he fell in water when he was a kid, and now he's terrified of it. He hasn't taken a bath in 10 whole years. When he sits next to Gulchan, the smell almost knocks Gulchan out. Just then, a mouse falls into the pool. Gulchan sees his chance. He fakes being scared of the mouse and begs Gudu to save it. The other players join in, yelling, "Come on, dude! You're the animal king! Go save the little mouse!" With everyone cheering him on, Gudu finally steps into the pool. It's the first time he's touched water in a decade. Pulls the mouse out and watches it scamper away. Then it hits him. He's in the pool, and water isn't that scary. It's even kind of nice. Gulchan jumps on the chance and hands him a bar of soap. This is Gudu's first bath in 10 years. But he didn't just save the mouse, he saved himself too. The old version of himself, the one who hid from water, is gone. Gulshan's still celebrating when the manager tells him he'll have to take the team to the next game alone. "Treat them like your kids," the manager says. Imagine you have 8 children, but Gulchan hates kids. He and his wife had a huge fight about having kids once. She wanted them, but he didn't. The thought of taking 8 kids on the trip makes him feel overwhelmed. To make things harder, one player, Kareem, has to work at his restaurant and can't play. So they add a new member, Golu, a plus-size girl. Galu looks tough as nails. She crosses the street without checking traffic lights, just holds up her hand and makes drivers stop for her. When they get to the game, Gulchan panics as soon as he sees the other team. They have a whole cheerleading squad. Their players dribble with both hands, and they sink perfect three-pointers like it's nothing. Compared to them, his team's total rookies. Gulchan still yells play calls from the sidelines using their secret code, but the other team is way too good. They score one after another as soon as the game starts, and the gap gets bigger and bigger. Gulshan's so desperate, he almost jumps onto the court himself. The game's almost lost when Golu suddenly says, "Put me in. I'll take them down in no time." Gulchan thinks she has some secret trick, so he puts her in right away. But the next second, Golu kicks an opposing player straight in the crotch. Then she glares like saying, "Don't mess with me." Gulshan realizes too late. This is what Golu meant by take him down. His team, though, loves it. They cheer Golu's name non-stop. Unsurprisingly, they lose the game. On the way back, the team starts bickering so loud the other bus passengers complain. Even the driver tells them to quiet down. Lotus gets mad, takes his gum out, and flicks it right at the driver's face. The driver blows a fuse. He slams on the brakes so hard Gulshan's nose starts bleeding. The passengers snap too. "This is a regular bus, not a loony bin. You weirdos get off now." Gulchan tries to explain. They're just excited. I'll get them to be quiet. But neither side backs down, and soon everyone's yelling. Just when things escalate, Golu acts again. This time, she kicks another guy in the crotch. Gudu even dumps a whole can of baby powder on the driver. As you can guess, they all get kicked off the bus. In the end, they have to take a goat cart home. But Gulchan's day gets even weirder. As soon as Gulchan gets to his front door, he hears his wife's voice from the bedroom. He thinks she's cheating on him. He storms in, furious. But it turns out his wife is just practicing boxing. She accidentally punches him square in the face. Gulchan milks it, acting all pitiful to beg her to be their driver. After that, his wife drives the team to their games. With her on board, the players get bolder and bolder. They even start playing like a team. Gulchan starts to act like a dad too. He even helps Golu tie her hair back. Gudu, who once refused to bathe, now wants to shower 3 times a day. Kareem, who works at the restaurant, misses a few games but never skips practice. He stays late every night to train alone. They win game after game. So many newspapers write about them. This special basketball team becomes front-page news. By the semifinals, Hargovind, the big guy who quit the team, shows up to watch. Even Gulchan's old head coach shows up, and so does the judge, to cheer them on. The team keeps winning all the way to the finals. After the game, Gulchan thanks his wife, but she says, "If you want to thank me, have a kid with me." Gulchan freezes up. They're not young anymore, and he's scared their kid might have Down syndrome. He's worried the baby won't be healthy. His wife calls him out. "You're not worried about the baby's health, you're just running from responsibility." They storm off, angry at each other. Sunil overhears the whole thing. He says, "I get it. Nobody wants their kid to be sick." He pauses, then adds, "But we wish we had a dad like you." He hugs Gulchan, thanking him for everything. Most people still don't accept them, but Gulshan's truly good to them, and they can feel that. Now, the finals are coming up. To win, they need Hargovind, the only one with real skills. Gulchan finds him and asks him to rejoin the team. That's when Hargovind finally opens up about his past. Turns out he used to be a gold medalist, but someone stole his medal. His old coach wanted to win so badly, he got normal people to pretend to be people with special needs. Their team got disqualified because of it. After that, Hargovind never trusted a coach again. This is the first time he's told anyone this. Gulchan opens up too, talking about his own childhood. When Gulchan was 8, his dad abandoned him. After that, he could never trust anyone again. He always thought, "I'll leave first before they abandon me." But over these 2 months with the team, he's felt trusted for the very first time. As soon as he finishes talking, he heads over to convince Hargovind's mom, but Hargovind stops him in a hurry. "That's just our neighbor auntie. This is my mom." Gulchan scratches his head awkwardly. Luckily, Hargovind's mom can see how sincere he is. She finally agrees to let Hargovind rejoin the team. The finals are right around the corner, but the manager hits him with bad news. The team has no funding left. Gulshan's stomach drops. Victory is within reach. How can they give up now? But he can't scrape together that much money in such a short time. Just as he's stressing out, he glances at his wife's social media and suddenly gets an idea. He'll ask her to pretend to be a cop and go talk to Kareem's shady boss. Gulshan's wife shows up at the boss's shop pretending to be a police officer. She slams a USB drive on his desk. "This has all the proof of your illegal operations," she says. "You hired Kareem, made him work 12 hours a day, but lied and said it was only 8. You knew he has Down syndrome and you still abused him, mentally and physically. You're looking at least 8 charges. The boss panics instantly. He hurries to give Kareem a whole month off and even offers to cover the team's round-trip flights and hotel stays. Finally, they can go to the finals. When they get to the hotel, Gulchan hands out room keys. Everyone's staying on the 10th floor, but Gulchan insists on taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Turns out, he got stuck in an elevator when he was a kid, and it left him with a huge phobia. Gudu opens the elevator door and suddenly yells to Gulchan, "There's a snake in here!" As soon as Gulchan runs over, the team shoves him into the elevator. They crowd around him and hit the close button. Gulchan screams in terror, "Let me out! The elevator's gonna fall. I can't breathe." No sooner does he say that than the elevator actually malfunctions. It gets stuck halfway between floors. Gulshan's sweating bullets, but the team stays totally calm. They hit the emergency button, then start singing and dancing inside the elevator. Soon, maintenance workers fix the elevator, and they finally get out. Gudu turns to Gulchan and says, "See, you're fine. You were just trapped by your fear, same as I used to be." That's when it clicks for Gulchan. He actually got over his phobia. He's so emotional that he hugs each player one by one. This time, they were the ones who helped him break free from his shadow. The day of the finals finally arrives, and the arena is packed with fans cheering for them. Their opponent? the strongest team they've ever faced. The other players are all over 6 feet 6 inches tall on average. Even Hargovin, the tallest on Gulchan's team, is only 5 feet 11 inches. As soon as the game starts, the other team starts scoring left and right. This opposing team is brutal. One of their players just brushes past Sunil and snaps Sunil's pinky clean. Gulchan hurries to say he'll take Sunil to the hospital, but Sunil shakes his head. It's nothing. The team needs me. Then he grits his teeth and pops it back into place by himself. The team fights as hard as they can, but the other side is all giants. Every time they throw the ball, it gets intercepted. Height-wise, they're at a total disadvantage. At halftime, Gulchan gathers everyone to figure out a plan. Let's turn our weakness into a strength. They're good at blocking shots up high. Then we'll pass low, below the knees. Make them bend over till their backs hurt. As soon as the second half starts, the team switches to low passes, lower every pass. The opposing players reach out to block, only to watch the ball zip right past their feet. Bit by bit, they start closing the score gap. The plan is working. If they keep this up, they might just come back to win. To take the victory, every player pulls out their best tricks. Soon, the score is 29-30, only 20 seconds left. Kareem has the ball. Gulchan yells, "Shoot now!" But Kareem starts walking toward the opponent's hoop. Gulchan sprints over, yelling, "Turn around! You're going the wrong way." Kareem stops in his tracks, and it looks like he's about to throw the ball backward, just like he used to. Gulchan waves his hands frantically to stop him, but Kareem has already made up his mind. He tenses up his whole body and hurls the ball backward with all his strength. This one shot will decide the championship. Gulshan's wife folds her hands in prayer. The crowd in the stands stands up. All the players' eyes follow the basketball as it flies. It hits the backboard, bounces twice on the rim. Everyone's heart is in their throats. But in the end, the ball skims the rim and drops to the floor. They were so close, but they didn't win the championship. Gulchan closes his eyes, unable to believe it. But then he hears his team cheering on the court. Players from both teams are hugging each other, thrilled. The crowd in the stands is shouting their team's name. Gulchan is confused. We lost, right? Why are they so happy? People with the mental age of 8 understand life's deepest truths. They don't know what first place means or what a championship is even for. But in this moment, they've conquered themselves. This once tiny, looked down upon team now stands on the national tournament stage and made it all the way to the finals. It's something they never even dared to dream of before. Gulshan's mind is stuck on "we lost," but the team uses their own way to tell him, "We didn't get eliminated, we're national runners-up." Satbir even adds, "My mom says 2 is better than 1, so we're the best." That's when Gulchan realizes how narrow his thinking used to be. Sometimes a national championship doesn't matter at all. What matters is how they grew along the way, from playing for themselves to working as a team, from not knowing how to pass to getting the ball to a teammate perfectly. For them, just enjoying every game is enough. Trophies aren't just for champions. They're for every player who fought hard for the game. His wife walks over and hugs him, finally clicks. He's never been their coach. They've been his coach. He used to think he knew more than them, but now he sees. These players have taught him so much more. They feel joy and sadness so vividly, and they heal others in their own little ways. Gulchan and his wife hug tightly, savoring this moment of happiness together. Later, Gulchan gets a call from his old head coach. He's retiring, and he's recommending Gulchan as the new head coach. But Gulchan can't bear to leave his team. Luckily, the manager has already found a new coach for them. Gulchan tells the new coach, "They might seem a little different at first, but if you take the time to get to know them, you'll see. They're smarter than any of us." He plans to leave quietly, without saying goodbye, but when he reaches the door, he can't help but turn back. He wipes his tears and heads back to the basketball court, where the team is huddled together. For a moment, he doesn't know what to say. He gets his composure, his voice cracking a little. "I'm going to leave you guys." These special players don't understand what goodbye means. They're just thrilled to see Gulchan come back. To thank him, each of them made a greeting card, scrawling their thanks in unsteady handwriting with words that don't flow perfectly. In this moment, they're already family. These players are different, but every single one of them has a spark. All they needed was someone like Gulchan, someone willing to set aside prejudice and truly get to know them. Along the way, Gulchan faced so many challenges. The team knew nothing about basketball, couldn't even follow simple instructions. Lotus didn't understand what pair up meant. Sunil couldn't tell his left shoe from his right, but Gulchan never gave up. He worked hard to find ways to connect with them, using metaphors and words they could understand to teach them. That's how this team became more and more united. Even against tough opponents, they never backed down. They gave it their all on the court. They didn't win the championship in the end, but they won over everyone's respect. Success was never about one single standard. Just gaining something from the journey is already amazing. This movie is called Stars on Earth 2, a follow-up to the beloved Indian film Stars on Earth. It's adapted from the Spanish film Champions. If you love this deep dive into the movie, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.